Hey everyone, it's Steve from the garden. In this video, I'm going to be going through and harvesting my German Butterball potatoes. Now, German Butterballs are a main crop potato, and they're actually still kind of growing, but we have much cooler weather coming in where we're going to get down into the mid-30s. So it's time to get them harvested and put up for storage. And at the end of this video, I'm also going to give an update on my sweet potatoes. Let's get started. The system I end up developing to do the harvest is where I dump the dirt into this bin over here. That kind of keeps it contained. I put all the potatoes into this bin. And then when I go to fill the root pouches back up, I use that tub over there and I put the root pouch inside the tub, rest the tote on the edge of the tub, and pour the dirt back in. I have 15 pouches of German Butterball potatoes. Now I got a couple here on the top that turn green. I'll put those off to the side. Yeah, we definitely got some potatoes in there. There you go. Now German Butterballs don't necessarily get as big as some other varieties of potatoes. And they have like a yellow interior to them. Kind of like a little bit like a Yukon Gold, but just not as, they just don't grow as large. And they have a little bit different flavor profile. That one's pretty nice. Oh, we got a worm in there too. Those two are actively growing. Now because I'm going to store the potatoes, I don't wash them before putting them in storage. It helps them last longer in storage and make sure that they don't rot or start growing on me. Now you can see just how nice the soil is in here. It holds together if you press it, but it breaks apart easily. I'm real happy with the way the soil looks in here. Alright, so it looks like that's about it for this pouch. Let's do a preliminary weight and see how much it came out to. Alright, I zeroed out the tare on the bowl. So let's go ahead and weigh these up and see what we get. The bowl is definitely filling up nicely. Okay, that's everything. So we came out to 4 pounds, 4.2 ounces. That is pretty good. Well, with 4 pounds, 4 ounces of potatoes just on the first bag, so that's pretty good, because when you consider that I started with 4 seed potatoes in that bag, and each seed potato weighed between 1.5 ounces and 2.3 ounces. Actually, that final weight was actually a little bit better than the 4.4 ounces because I didn't count these 2 that were on the top that had started turning green. This pouch also had some vegetation still growing on it. That looks like that was part of the seed potatoes. Now, even though German Butterball is a main crop potato, I did not bother hilling the pouch at all. I just don't want to have to spend time revisiting each and every pouch to add more dirt to it. I'd rather just fill them up at the beginning of the season and let them go. This is bag number 4. Now that first bag I would say is probably my best one so far. But this one you can see still had some vegetation growing. I'm getting an awful lot of little potatoes in these bags. Again, I know German Butterball doesn't tend to get as big as, let's say, the Kennebecks do. And I know people like to roast these. Okay, the last root pouch. See, we got some that were very close to the top. And I've been getting a lot of small ones. But I do get, a decent number of like the medium-sized ones like these. I'd prefer not to get these little ones like this. I mean, some of these I can use as seed potatoes, like maybe that one. But when you get a bunch of like little ones, that's not really worth it. At least not for me. I don't I want to spend the time cleaning up a bunch of little ones like that. You also get some like odd shaped ones here. Or something like this is much better. You know, I can skin it or do whatever I want with it. And that's really very usable. And something like this is definitely on the smaller side. I mean, this one would be worth, you know, if you want to do like some roasted potatoes, go through and clean it up. But really, I can clean that up in about the same amount of time as I can clean a much bigger one, you know, except you get a lot more out of this. We'll go and get these all weighed up and see what we got all together. Okay, let's get these up on the scale and see what we got. It's like 57 pounds. With 57 pounds of German Butterball potatoes, divided by the number of root pouches I had, which was 15, you know, we get 3 pounds or 3.8 pounds per root pouch, or 3 pounds 12 ounces, or just close enough. Now when you figure in like what I use for seed potatoes, which would be somewhere between 6 and 8 ounces of seed potatoes, well, you just kind of round that to say, you know, that the yield would be around 8 times multiplier for the seed potatoes to the harvest. Now, not every potato that grew out of that 57 pounds is going to be usable. You know, some of them are kind of small, and those I'll toss in the compost pile. But overall, not a bad yield. And when you add that to my Kennebec potatoes I grew, which was 89 pounds, now that comes out to 146 pounds of potatoes this year. Now, I also wanted to give a quick update on the sweet potatoes. I did harvest those yesterday, but my wireless mic went out when I was recording it. So I'm not going to post a video for that because I would have to redo all the audio, and that's just not going to be practical. But this is about all I got out of the sweet potatoes. These were like the biggest ones. Now, a lot of the 5 buckets I had, you know, there's a lot of roots, like the feeder roots, but not much in terms of tubers. Now, I had an observation about that. Is like I had 2 buckets where I put bananas in them that add potassium. Those buckets had a lot of roots in them, but again, almost nothing in terms of actual tubers. My control buckets, my 2 control buckets, which only had a little bit of fertilizer at the beginning and I did nothing else with them, that's where these came from. So those were approaching usable size. I don't consider these usable. They're not, there's just not enough here to make it worth cooking. But I have a thought for next year, is that, you know, maybe less is more when it comes to sweet potatoes. Where I think I'm going to do a trial run with just 2 buckets, where I'm going to mix, say, 1 bag of play sand in with compost and grow the sweet potato slips in that, to see if having a less dense nutrient base for it to draw from, if that causes it to form more tubers in order to survive for, you know, the coming year. So we'll find that out next year and see how that goes. If you have any suggestions on the sweet potatoes, I'd love to hear them. Remember, I am in Zone 5 outside the Chicago area. Not necessarily the greatest place to grow sweet potatoes compared to, like, say, South Carolina or Georgia or something like that. But, you know, this is where I live, so this is what I have to work with. If you have any comments, go ahead and leave them down below, or if you have any questions, you can leave a comment. I'll do my best to answer them. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed, got something out of this, and we'll see you on the next one.